Good evening, you lovely people. It's a glorious evening on a Sunday here in Scotland, and it's me, the critical drinker. I'm here to catch up some super chats from the previous live stream on Thursday. I think that was open bar number 5. And yeah, we just, as hard as we tried, we just could not get through all those super chats. So doing my usual thing and just trying to catch up on them now. I will hopefully be joined soon by the long man himself, and he will be here to help me out and answer questions and stuff. But for the time being, it's just me, so I'll do my best to keep you entertained. I'm just looking at the chat here. Leighton K. Well, you're half right. Yeah, I'm just I was a bit slow getting started tonight. But hey, I've got my drinker mug. I've got my Irish coffee, so I'm good to go, and I'll do my best to answer all these different questions. I was just looking at the chat there about Zendaya, saying that she's kind of annoying and kind of overrated. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie there. So I don't know, man. I've just never seen her in a particularly good role. And she always does this weird squinty thing with her eyes when she wants to look really serious about something. It doesn't give you quite as much gravitas as you think, young lady. Anyway, I'm just going to check where I got to with the super chats on the last one. I think the last one I did was from Morgan King, where he was asking about Mortal Engines. Yeah. Yeah, so the next one was from Andre Aguilar, and he says, I ain't got time to bleed. None of us do, man. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop it from happening. Also from Morgan King here, he was saying Morsel Engine is the name of the movie. Sorry. Yeah, it's fine. It was probably autocorrect, or the booze that was doing that to you. Motolicious says, when do we get a Howdy Doody theatrical reboot? Give it time. Everything will get rebooted eventually. What I think I'm looking forward to is when they do reboots of the reboots. Again, that's that's going to happen. Just everything will just slowly come around again. You know, it's just Hollywood is now less of a creative enterprise and just a wheel that just gradually goes round and crushes everything, especially people's dreams. Yeah, what's this one? My sunglasses aren't attached to my body. Yeah, I occasionally take them off, especially on a Sunday. It's the one day of the week when I just like see the world as it is, you know. Yeah, Henry Cavill is the new 007. Fuck it, I'd vote for it. People have asked me this before, and I would absolutely pick Cavill as the next Bond. I just feel like he'd probably be wasted in the role at this point. You know, it's gone downhill big time with Daniel Craig, and as much as Craig himself was kind of a bad choice to play Bond, the actual writing has just lost all of its bite, has lost its balls. Bond's just become an absolute pussy, and yeah, they're just not fun anymore. So you'd have to change the entire creative team behind it. Yeah, it's weird to hear me talk normally. We'll give it time, let the Irish coffee kick in. What's the next one? Preston Sparks, he said, have any of you watched Yellowstone? Great show. Kevin Costner kills it. God damn, man. Kevin Costner's one of those guys that I kind of always liked as an actor, but I don't really know why. Like, he's, he's pretty inoffensive. I feel like he's never really been involved in big controversies. He doesn't say stupid shit online. Just kind of gets his head down and gets the job done. That being said, never felt like he was particularly charismatic or had a particularly big range as an actor. He's just one of those kind of quiet, soft-spoken guys that I think isn't quite a leading man. He kind of functions better as a character, a supporting actor. But hey, it's good to see he's still doing stuff. George says, we need pop culture that creates mythologies again. Superman is the embodiment of goodness. Spider-Man is the spirit of joy. Batman is righteous rage. Yeah, man. What can I even say? Like, I agree wholeheartedly. It kind of feels like we don't create much now. We don't create memorable things anymore. Like the entertainment that we do create, as profitable as it is, it's not memorable. when we've talked at length on this channel about the movies that we grew up with, the movies that really stuck with us, they're all films from like 20, 30, 40 years ago. There's very few now that get created that future generations are going to really look back on and remember. And I don't see that changing at the moment. And it's a real shame. But yeah, it's what we need to be doing is creating some kind of like positive culture that we can actually be proud of. And I guess that's going to start with giving people artistic freedom again, like movie creators, writers, not having them be shackled to what's considered politically correct at the time. Yeah, where's MauLer? He will join us. I think he was just finishing up some stuff before he came onto this stream because I started a bit earlier than I normally do tonight. So that's partly why. What's the next one? John says, some classics came out of left field. The system didn't make them. The makers were told it wasn't possible. Now only the system is left. They don't want to take a risk on new ideas. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. It kind of harkens back to the same problem I was just describing. New things do get created, but generally, once they do, they get absorbed into this big system of Hollywood, and they become just part of it. You see it with shows that start out as kind of edgy and fun and interesting. They get to like season 2 or 3, they've attracted a big audience, and then suddenly they start becoming homogenized and they start becoming just predictable and safe because people have just leapt onto them. What's this one? What is the most recent movie you can think of that can stand the test of time? Damn, that's a tough question, to be honest with you. I mean, even when I think back to the past couple of years about films that I've really enjoyed, like Joker, for example, as good as that was, yeah, it does make me wonder: are people going to look back on this as like our generation's Taxi Driver? I don't know, man. Like I say, there doesn't seem to be films that make that kind of impact anymore. Yeah, that's why YouTube's garbage now. They started paying creators, so now we have a bunch of garbage clickbait vids and hacky, corny creators. I mean, I think it is a problem on YouTube. You do get a lot of clickbait. I mean, I hope and try my best never to be like that. Like, I actually try to have a bit of substance to my videos, rather than be like 10 things you missed about the new Spider-Man trailer or some garbage like that, and it just turns out to be nonsense that doesn't even exist, or just pushing rumors that some guy put on Reddit and they've got nothing behind them. Like, it's just all it's all clickbait. Will Meldman, he said, Robert, respectfully, I'd love to hear your thoughts on John Campea leaking the No Way Home pics and what was going through his mind to watermark them. I think I did actually ask Rob about that at the time. Yeah, he did answer it, but I think, he can't really speak for John Campea, I guess. Rory Bjorkman, I'm trying to make a new thing. It's a medieval sci-fi. Google me. I agree. We need to make new ideas and worlds. Yeah, absolutely. Make it as crazy and out there as you want, man. It's your baby. It's your project. And don't be constrained by what's expected of you, I suppose. Well, late as always, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us here tonight.
Absolutely. What you drinking there? Is it alcoholic?
A little bit of Irish coffee, yeah.
Ah, excellent. Couldn't possibly be anything else.
Just got to work it into everything, really. Yeah, so I was just working my way through the super chats. So I'm just trying to see where was the last one we got to. Yeah, Cody Griffin, he said, thank you, Drinker, for being a voice of reason in today's media nightmare and for starting a podcast to rival PKA. I mean, I don't know if I'm a voice of reason, but at least I say things. Then nobody pays me to say it as well. So, I get to just say whatever's in my head.
It's like holding your beer. Like, this is pretty reasonable, I think.
Wormy Spoons. So I don't like Star Trek Discovery because I am not Space Jesus. Exactly. And none of us are, sadly. There's only one Space Jesus, and that's Michael Burnham. Big Dave K. So a new Pixar film is coming out called Turning Red. Do you guys have thoughts on the trailer? Turning Red? What the fuck?
Doesn't sound familiar to me.
I'm going to look this one up. Is it a porno?
Oh, you're right, it is.
Oh shit, yeah. What the fuck is this? A 13-year-old girl suddenly turns into a giant red panda whenever she gets too excited. Is this going to be some metaphor for periods?
Child Hulk or something.
Nah. What was that one that was? It was just advertised when I went and saw Ghostbusters at the cinema. It was a new Pixar movie, and it was like a Mexican family living in a magical house where they've all got different like magic powers, and then they start to forget the magic, or it starts to fade away or something, and the girl's got to go and try and fix everything. Fuck, I'm gonna look that up.
I was gonna say, I remember, was it Luca was one of the newer ones?
That might be it. Is that it?
So what are you even up to these days? And whenever they released anything, it used to be super special. These days, it's just like, oh, there's no one. Like, oh.
I don't know if that's the one, actually. No, I don't think Luca's the one. Fuck. Chat, help me out with this one. Encanto, I think that's the one. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, that's the fucking one, yeah. But the thing is, it is... production company. Walt Disney. It's just Disney.
Okay.
So it's not Pixar, yeah. But yeah, I think they were saying, like when I was seeing the sort of press junkets for this one, it's like, oh, finally a movie that addresses like, you know, his Latinx spirituality and mysticism and stuff. Like we've never had that before. I was like, what, does Coco not exist then?
Dude, every sentence of Lou's like, finally, it's like, shut up. Stop it.
I know, this is it. Like, how many times can you have the first, you know, of whatever before people are like, yeah, this isn't the first. Like, you've literally just called something else the first, like 2 months ago.
And what if it's shit?
Yeah.
Even if it's the first whatever.
It's weird. It's often from the same outlets as well. Like they'll post one story and then another one like a week later that just completely contradicts what they said previously. They just don't give a fuck. I assume they just think people have got the
Charlie's Angels one. That was fucking great.
Oh, that's a proper duality of man. You know.
Yeah.
It's like, this movie wasn't made for you, men. And it's like, men aren't going to see Charlie's Angels. Misogyny to blame. That is amazing. What's the next one? Yeah, James McDonough. Drinker, check out Midnight Mass. It's Mike Flanagan's masterpiece. What do you think of movies so bad they're good, like The Room and Troll 2? The past garbage is better than many movies today. Yeah, I mean, we've kind of talked about this before, haven't we? Because, you know, when we've done things like EFAP movies, there's definitely been films we've watched where it's like, this is shit, but it's enjoyably shit. You know, there's a definite element of like, well, there's entertainment to be had from certain things.
Yeah. It can get really complicated to like rank some stuff sometimes because you enjoy things so much, but it's absolutely dreadful. So you're just like, wait, but what is this compared to like Army of the Dead, where it's terrible and miserable?
Yeah.
So, what does that mean, you know?
Yeah. And it is an interesting one. But yeah, I enjoy films like that. I'm totally fine to embrace the shitness when it's just good fun. I think sometimes it comes down to like things you can identify, like maybe the budget was terrible and so the special effects look completely laughable, and that's just, you know, they were working in real constraints and they just were doing the best they could, but it's shit because of that. Or the actors were terrible because they couldn't afford to hire anyone decent or whatever. Like, you know, The Room is probably a good example of that, where everything was amateurish, everything was like thrown together. You know, Tommy Wiseau was a unique individual to be in a movie, you know?
Yeah.
And all of those things just came into a perfect storm of like hilarious shittiness. Yeah. What's the next one? Yeah. Give me Iron Sky over most new films at the moment. Yeah, Iron Sky was something else, man. That's like, I'm sure that's Nazis from the moon or something, is it? I'm sure I've seen
Already
it.
sold.
Iron Sky. Yeah. 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 It tells the story of a group of Nazi Germans who, having been defeated in 1945, fled to the moon, where they built a space fleet to return in 2018 and conquer Earth. Iron Sky is one of the most expensive Finnish films ever made. It is glorious. Like,
I want to see that pitch meeting where someone was like, "Okay, so I have an idea. Now hear me out before you judge it."
It's a little bit out there.
You guys are gonna love it.
Ransom G, the state of modern cinema is one trivia question. What's the last blockbuster unifying franchise that everyone seems to love that wasn't based on previously established comic books or pre-built universe? I think we did this one at the time.
John Wick, right? That's the best we could come up with.
Probably, yeah.
Which
That's
isn't
the only
a fantastic answer. Like, in terms of, a lot of people didn't even see John Wick, so.
Yeah. But it is one of those ones that has got very few detractors, at least, so I guess. Also from Ransom G, after The Lord of the Rings, that is. See previous Super Chat, yeah. And again, that's based on a book, so I mean, you've got that backdrop already. Anthony Pook says, are you ever going to review New Vegas? I don't care what anyone else says, it's the best game ever. In terms of the Fallout games, damn, or just all games ever. Yeah, I mean, New Vegas kind of it was about the same time as Fallout 3, wasn't it? It was a PS3 sort of era of game.
Yeah, it came out soon after 3. I say soon, just relatively soon.
I think New Vegas is one of the few that I didn't complete. Like, I think I got about halfway into it, and then just moved on to something else. I remember it being good at the time. The mechanics were very similar to 3, as I recall.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
I think, was it maybe like the same engine? I don't know enough about it, but yeah. Is it Fallout 3 New Vegas, or is it Fallout New Vegas?
I think it's Fallout New Vegas.
Right.
Yeah, it's just called Fallout New Vegas. Most of the Fallout games have been pretty damn good, though, apart from like the most recent one, which was a bit of a debacle. Snell World says, you guys are reminding me of the first time late at night I saw the 1989 Batman trailer. I was blown away by it. Yeah, that must have been quite an experience to see Batman in like a completely different light. You know, I guess the only thing people would have seen up until then would have been the Adam West TV show. And it's like, wow, holy shit. He's like dark and brooding and violent. And he actually looks kind of dangerous as well. Yeah. What is your thoughts on the Tim Burton Batman movies?
I love them quite a bit. I watched them back when I was super young. As for, I don't know how faithful they are, I got no comment. I'm assuming they're probably not, from what I've heard. And then as for how good they are, I'd kind of need to watch them again to really be sure. But one of the things that stands out to me in those, and for Schumacher's, is Gotham is a way more interesting place than it was in Nolan's. And I'm hoping we get that back with Matt Reeves' ones. I like Michael Keaton. I thought they did a decent job with the villains. I don't know. I like them. I don't know what else I could say, really.
It's, you know, obviously Tim Burton's got like that really unique Tim Burton style. Like, he's a gothic fairy tale kind of guy. And I think in some weird way, he was kind of well suited to doing Batman movies. Like, the action scenes were clearly clunky as fuck. Like, God bless Michael Keaton. He did his best, but the bat suit was like a big plank of wood that you had to wear. Like, it was really difficult to move in. Couldn't turn his head or anything. But yeah, like, I quite like Nicholson as the Joker. I quite like Batman Returns as well. Like the one with Penguin and stuff. Like,
I love them both.
I think Burton really went all in on that one.
That's wild, and it would have been cool to see. I don't know, dare I say, the completed trilogy or another one from Burton, just to see how it would have gone. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, like you say, that this is something I brought up when I reviewed The Dark Knight Rises, is that Gotham is just really boring in the Nolan movies. Like, it's just New York.
Yeah.
And it's not even a particularly like grim or you know, nasty looking New York. It's just New York. and it's so like lacking in character and soul.
It's especially strange because Batman Begins, there was an attempt at having a Gotham, but they just dropped that in the next two.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they had the kind of weird elevated railways and stuff, and some of the buildings look a little bit, gothically styled. But then, when you get to the Dark Knight Rises, like half of it's shot in the daytime, and it just looks so shit. There's no atmosphere, nothing. Joaquim Stark says, I walked blind into Highlander. My friend was hungover and went to bed. He just said, rewind and press play. I did. Mind blown.
My God.
That's a hell of a way to watch Highlander. You must have been like, what the fuck is going on here? I love Highlander. I've got a lot of time for it. It's got real charm. Mr. Head, people hate it because they made it kid friendly. Not sure what we'd be referring to there. Enoch Mammon, the big reason Ghostbusters 2 gets so much hate is that the cartoon, the real Ghostbusters, was on for 5 seasons before it. 2 was meant to be more cartoony and family friendly to match the show. Ah, right. Okay, so that was what the previous super chat was saying. I don't know, man. Like, I never. There's a lot of things that people were saying to me on that stream where I was like, I can't connect this to the film. Like, I think Rob was saying that the special effects were way cheaper, and so they looked really shit compared to the first one. I was like, yeah, they just looked the same to me. Like, they were meant to look a little bit cheesy, I guess. Like, they were clearly just, all the ghosts were just puppets, I guess, that were then composited into the shots, and they looked fine in that regard. Like, they just looked like the first movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And in terms of the overall tone, like, there was comic elements to it, but I didn't feel like they went totally over the top with it. I don't know, man. It's a weird one. Maybe I've just got really fond memories of it, and I need to rewatch it. But I seem to remember it being better than that.
I haven't seen it long enough that I can't really comment. But I don't know. It was nobody ever liked it more than the first one.
Oh no, like I don't think there's many people that would accuse it of being better than the first, but I guess my take has always been like, it was fine for a sequel. Wasn't amazing, but it was perfectly enjoyable. But then it's maybe just you compare it to 2016 and you're like, oh yeah, it's a masterpiece compared to that. John says, first saw Jenny Agutter in Walkabout, an Australian movie from the mid-70s. I was very young at the time. But you became a man after seeing Jenny Agutter. She was hot back in the day, man. Chester Bonaparte, any favorite SCPs if you guys are familiar? Also, Blackadder favorites. I like Baldric learning to count 4 beans. Also, raspberries are the best berries. What?
So with the first one with SCPs, I'm assuming, I don't know if you're familiar with SCP or not. SCP Containment Breach. It's like a series of sort of creepypasta stories of different monsters, and then there's a game, I think, where you have to escape them and stuff.
Oh, okay.
If you haven't heard of it, like I wouldn't be able to give an answer for that. I'd have to go through them and see which ones sort of appeal more or less. So we got limited answers on that. I think Rags is relatively familiar with SCP, so he'd be able to give an answer.
Now I feel like I want to learn more about them.
Yeah, it's an interesting set of stuff in there. I know a lot of people always wanted me to do like a video on it because of the stuff I did with the horror games. But second question, what was that again?
So favorite Blackadder.
Oh, like season 4 for sure.
Blackadder goes fourth.
Yeah, with 3 not far behind, and then 2, and then 1. 1 is, I don't think anybody likes 1 the most. That's season 1.
I don't think I've even seen 1. Or very little of it anyway. I think I was very much came in later, so it was like 3 and 4. Probably.
If I remember correctly, that season is like an experiment, and they have like Baldric as the smart one and Blackadder's the idiot.
Yeah. Well, I'd heard that. Yeah, there was a gradual shift.
Yeah.
Over the seasons, and like Baldric gradually got smarter or whatever. But yeah, he was back to being pretty thick by the time you get to Blackadder goes fourth. I loved Flashheart. And it just an absolute prick to everyone. It's brilliant at the same time.
He's fucking great. Yeah, all the guest stars are top notch throughout Blackadder. It's so wonderful to see Hugh Laurie, Stephen Fry, Tim McInnery, and then of course Who's the name of the guy who played Flash Hux? He was Drop Dead Fred as well, right? Or he's in that movie?
Rick Mail, wasn't it?
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they were asking like favorite jokes and stuff. I love all the shit throughout Blackadder. I kind of need to watch it again, but I remember they need someone to pose as the prince to be killed, I think, and the Baldrick offers Blackadder to do it, and then Blackadder just grabs him and immediately starts walking out of the room, and the prince is like, what are you doing? He goes, sorry, sir, problem with the staff. And he just like drags him outside and he goes, Baldrick, does it have to be this way? Do I have to chop you into tiny pieces and tell the prince you walked over an extremely sharp cattle grid with a very heavy hat? Like, it's the kind of shit where before they even finish the joke, you're just picturing all of it.
I think one of my favorites was from Blackadder Goes Forth when General Melchett is like reviewing a model that they've built of all the terrain that they've captured, and he's like, "What sort of scale is this model to?" And it's like, "Well, this is like actual scale," and it's just like the length of a table. It's like that's as far as they've advanced in like a year.
This is how much country we've gained, and it's 1-to-1.
Yeah. He's like, but look at the detail. You can see the snails and everything in the grass. Ken Stanton here was asking about Red Dwarf as well. Fantastic back in the day. Kind of tailed off in recent years, and I sort of wish they hadn't come back with it. I just kind of feel like they're all a bit too old now. But yeah, the first probably 6 seasons were just incredible.
There was did you ever see a show called Community?
No, I watched the odd episode, like round at my mate's house, usually after a night out, we'd watch it. Was that the one with Chevy Chase?
Yeah. He was before he had creative differences and fucking got booted off, I think. There's this back and forth in season 1 between 2 characters where one's American, one's British, and they basically say a show, and then the other one says a show that's better, and the other one says a show that's better. They're all comedy ones. And like I always liked how it ended. They keep mentioning ones. I think like MASH is mentioned as one of the best like American shows for comedy, and then he just goes, Fawlty Towers, game over. I was just like, hey.
Yeah, that's God. Most of the sketches in Fawlty Towers, like you just wouldn't be allowed to do today. I think that's the tragic thing, because people can look back on it now and just have an amazing time with it, but it's just like, that kind of comedy wouldn't be created anymore.
Yeah, and what else I'd say is incredible almost about Fawlty Towers is they completed it. They went, we're done. We did our 2 seasons. That's our stuff. We're done. We're moving on to a different project. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. How many shows know when to stop, hey, and just quit while they're ahead?
Flowery twats.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. Just the comic timing of some of those moments in Fawlty Towers were just glorious. Like when Basil's got to try and get somewhere in his car and it doesn't start, and he just loses his shit with it, and he's like, I'm gonna give you a damn good thrashing. And he runs off screen and he's gone for a good 10 seconds. And he just comes back with a fucking tree branch and starts whacking it.
I feel like that would have inspired like Edgar Wright for some stuff with the way it's framed and how it works. I don't know, like it's and John Cleese was fucking fantastic at it. Yep.
The kind of energy that he brought to it, incredible. What's the next one? Munchkin. Hello, Drinker. Have you watched Love and Monsters? Came out during the Rona, so it's criminally underrated and just a little bit wonderful. No, I haven't watched Love and Monsters, and I don't know anything about it. Let me just look it up.
I was going to say I'm not familiar. I've heard of it, but I've not seen it.
What's this? Forced to live underground after an apocalypse, a boy decides to venture out of his colony in order to reunite with his girlfriend. So it's a monster adventure film, directed by Michael Matthews. Yeah. Okay. It was done on a budget of like...
The Doctor Who episode was called Love and Monsters, wasn't it? With the Absorbaloff played by Peter Kay.
Yes. Yeah, it was... God, that's an old one. That was from 2006. I'm just looking it up here. Aye. The monster was designed by a 9-year-old child who won a Blue Peter competition.
He did. I remember seeing that.
There is nothing more British than that sentence.
Blue Pizza, I remember that shit. Is that still going? Probably is.
Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. It's done 5,173 episodes so far.
Fucking hell.
That's a lot. Blue Peter. Damn.
I've seen a lot of people in chat mentioning Cowboy Bebop, by the way. I think are you and I like two of the only people who are not getting in on that at all?
I think we are, yeah. I've got no desire to see it now. It just seems to be shit. I just feel like I want to watch the original and just enjoy that.
It's getting absolutely slammed by everyone. So, like, it's nice to not have something get destroyed, you know? I'm just like, I don't even know anything about Cowboy Bebop. So, like, there we go.
It's like, it's nice to stay out of it sometimes. And it's like, I don't have to get angry and pissed off about this. It's like, just not involved in it.
Yeah.
Look, Salad Snakes, you got a Blue Peter badge. You fucking legend. Give us your badge. No, that's good stuff, man. What's the next one? Silo 101. What did you guys think of Enterprise? My dad loved it and always didn't get why it was hated. That intro too, because I've got faith of the heart. I don't think you'll have watched Enterprise, really, will you?
Is Star Trek?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen basically any Star Trek except for J.J. Abrams' first two movies.
You and I need to watch Wrath of Khan one time, honestly. Do a watch together or something, and I would just really be interested to get your take on it from a writing point of view.
Deal.
But with Enterprise, it was basically the last Star Trek thing that was made before JJ took over. Yeah, so I think it was Rick Berman who produced it again, and it was really just the result of a franchise that had kind of run out of creative steam. It always felt kind of bland and wishy-washy. It was one of the first shows, I think, that became like a prequel, kind of like Discovery is. You know, they're like, we'll take you back to the very first starship that was created, and it's just venturing out into the galaxy for the first time. And so a lot of the storylines ended up being like, hey, you're going to encounter these aliens that you already know about, but they're meeting them for the first time, and it was just a bit crap. But I think, you know, the show apparently was just finding its feet in like season 3. You know, they'd started to develop a kind of storyline and an identity for themselves, and then that's when I think the executives just axed it. They were like, right, it's time to start again with Star Trek. So people always see it as like this big what if, you know, what if they'd given it an extra couple of seasons? What if it had really found its groove and it could have been the next generation or something like that? But it never came to be. I was never a huge fan of it, if I'm honest. Anyway, Brie Larson's Period. Lovely.
All right.
But by the way, if you haven't seen it, you should check out an anime series called Made in Abyss. There's 1 season and 1 movie thus far, and the characters and the world building are superb. Cool, man. I mean, I'll add it to my list of 5,000 other animes that I need to watch. It's just like, I mean, I'm a total, you know, novice when it comes to all of these things. And man, it's hard to know where to start. It seems like there's just an entire world of entertainment with anime and stuff that just never really delved into. And I feel like I could just lose myself in it for like a decade and then come back and make some YouTube videos about it. Kevin O'Neill says, Drinker, when you get a chance, check out the 1993 coming-of-age classic, The Sandlot, a heartfelt flick that dares to portray boys being boys when such a thing was allowed. I remember The Sandlot. Yeah, it's they make their own little baseball field or something, and there's like a big guard dog or something in the next garden over, and like in their childish imaginations they picture it as this big monster thing that's coming for them. I remember it being pretty good though. It's set like back in the 1950s, so it's all very like golly gee whiz and stuff, but yeah, it was a pretty good film. Taker 610 says, there are only 2 things I can't stand in this world: people who can't tolerate other people's cultures, and the Welsh.
Who you quoted? That's I feel like that's from something, but
I think that's
regardless.
Is it a Red Dwarf quote from Rimmer or something?
It could be. Maybe chat will know what it's from because it just sounds so familiar to me.
Yeah.
but replacing Welsh, because who the fuck references the Welsh in movies? Like,
they don't get nearly enough.
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers. Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's Michael Caine, isn't it?
Yeah. That's good stuff. Mr. Head, my mother likes the 2016 Ghostbusters and thinks the original is bad. What do I do? Time to find a new mother, I would suggest.
New planet.
Yeah. Insanity Methods. Have you ever watched True Calling, MauLer?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Frozen in the 80s. This is a question for Robert, who's not here. Sorry. Have you seen Midnight Mass? And if so, what's your thoughts on it? I'm going to pretend he has seen it and he loved it.
He probably would. I think most people are adoring that show. We on EFAP fucking hated the last episode with a passion. We think it ruined a lot of what was really well done in the first set, unfortunately.
I'm going to give myself a quick lowdown here. Midnight Mass. It's a horror. So I'm just kind of curious to know what this is now.
Yeah, well, so it's, I guess you could argue it's in a similar vein to the Haunting shows.
So a tale of a small, isolated island community whose existing divisions are amplified by the return of a disgraced young man and the arrival of a charismatic priest.
That's the one.
Yeah, we talked about this before, haven't we?
I would recommend it. I think you'd really like it. And, you know, if anything, if you check it out, we could do maybe a stream and we can talk about that last episode or something. But,
okay.
Well, all of it, really. But, yeah, it's done really well, I think. I think it's just critically acclaimed. Everyone loves it. The thing I'm happy about is it's going to get in more TV shows, which is what I very much care about. So it's like, woohoo. Because I love his work. And I adore all of it. It's that last episode, man. It fucking frustrated me so much.
Yeah.
Which I think the same thing happened with Hill House, if you remember. A lot of people found the last episode of that frustrating.
This is where I have to project my mind back several years to what actually happened in the final episode. So is that where it kind of flicks back and gives you like an explanation for what happens in the first episode? Like it's kind of told from the mother's point of view and like why?
That's the penultimate episode. The last one is that the mother basically is like, okay, maybe I won't kill my whole family, but you have to stay, Dad. And then he's like, okay. I felt like the mother's character is kind of ruined in that last episode because she's basically like, I don't want to be alone. She's already killed her daughter, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a bit floomy.
Okay. Yeah, I would need to rewatch that, but that does ring a bell, actually. I think with Hill House season 1, well, that is the only season. I was so taken in by just the atmosphere and you know the foreboding of it, the ghosts themselves. You know, I almost wasn't paying as much attention to the storyline, which is probably a failing on my part. I was just like, hey, this is fun, and it's got jump scares. I love them. Yeah, so maybe that was the problem. Matt317 says, hey Drinker, a great anime film recommendation is Jinro, the Wolf Brigade. It's a slow burn, but deeply rewarding. Anyway, off to see Ghostbusters. Cheers. Yeah, so many recommendations. But anyway, I hope you enjoy Ghostbusters. Have you seen it yet?
Nope. I'm not even sure if I'm putting a lot of effort into seeing it or not. I'm not sure if I want to. I might just see it when it comes out, you know?
Okay. No, that's fair enough, man. I don't blame you. Apple Core in a bin. Hey, Longman, thoughts on SK's Homecoming vid?
No, I've been asked a couple of times on EFAP. Same answer. I watched it. I thought it was pretty bad, but I don't know if that would be that shocking. Like, the main issue I found was just there's no room to interpret any character's actions as being properly motivated unless it's like the most optimal, which I find is a very lame way to approach criticism. Like, you have to look into why someone does a thing as opposed to whether or not it was the best thing they could do at the time.
Okay. Jode Elio gave me a super sticker for £5. Thank you. Hollow Man Biju says, do a review of Alien Nation. Great movie, really underrated. I thought Alien Nation was a TV show.
It's not ringing any bells for me, Alien Nation.
It's an old one, I think. Yeah, that is an old one. So it's like they're kind of like humanoid aliens that have come to Earth, and they they've integrated into human society, but they're kind of treated as like an underclass. So it's like a kind of parallel for racism and stuff like that. And there's I think there's various conspiracies going on to like try and wipe them out. It's not one I remember too well. I just remember the prosthetics and stuff being a bit goofy. They instead of drinking alcohol, they drink like soured milk. Apparently, that's like whiskey to them. And salt water will melt them. So, like, they can't really go near the ocean. I remember stuff like that being it's a bit weird. Snow Miser says, have you guys seen the movies Color Out of Space, Dead Alive, Brain Dead, or Night of the Demons? If so, what are your thoughts on them? Brain Dead is like an early Peter Jackson movie, isn't it? It's just like super violent and super over the top zombie, massacre stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw it, but I know about it.
Yeah, I think it's like a gore porn type thing. It's like, what's the most disgusting stuff we can put on screen? Yeah, do it. I can't believe this guy got chosen to do Lord of the Rings and did an incredible job with it.
Thank fuck he did, I guess. Like,
yeah, man. I guess sometimes it works out. Master Clockwork says, Cyberpunk 2077 is an example of horrid modern game design. The map's littered with icons. Exploration is pointless, and there's no emergent gameplay. I guess this ties into the points we were making about just games today being too prescriptive and handholdy and shit.
Man, we EFAB yesterday. We like the first few hours just talking about the new Halo multiplayer and its pros and cons, and it eventually just became a conversation about how everything's terrible.
It's all pointless.
And we were like just reminiscing about the olden days with video games. Never felt like more of a boomer in that stream. Just be like, you kids with your new fangled games.
I mean, just enjoy this moment, man, when you're still got like one foot in either camp, because like this is just going to happen to you more and more as you get older. Mm-hmm. The God of Gravy says, "Drinker, you devilishly dashing downer of beverages. Find someone to talk to about Heartbreak Ridge and watch Trance. Also, thoughts on Wes Anderson." Heartbreak Ridge is great. Fucking brilliant Clint Eastwood movie. It's on my list of things to review for Extra Shots because it's just like it's a great little action war movie. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched Trance though, so I don't know about that. Thoughts on Wes Anderson, I guess. Okay. We talked about this before.
Yeah, we did. I think we basically said like, well, at least I don't have strong feelings about his films. I just don't.
I've not watched enough of them. I've only seen a couple, and just thought they were kind of weird. Like, was it not like the Royal Tenenbaums or something we talked about?
Was it Fantastic Mr. Fox? I think is the one that I like the most out of the lot.
You did. I remember you mentioning that. But he's just not a filmmaker I think about a lot, if I'm honest. Mm-hmm. Moose the Goose says, "Cheers from Canuckland. Have a drink on me." Thank you. Thanks very much, man. The Outcast Creative. Drinker, would you and MauLer care to be our guest co-hosts on our hour chat with actor Jason Fleming? He's done over 100 movies, worked with many of the greats. That could be interesting because we could talk to him about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I
was about to say, fucking hell yeah, sign me up. I'd love to chat with him. It'd be great.
All right. I mean, I think we've talked before on email, so send me an email about that and we'll see if we can get that sorted out. But it sounds cool. Krusty Jugglers says, Drinker, have you had Glenmorangie Signet? If you have £200 to spend on a bottle of the best whiskey you've ever had, do it. And watch Bone Tomahawk. 1.8 million budget, perfectly executed. I've heard a lot about Bone Tomahawk. I've been asked many times about it. Glenmorangie, not normally a whiskey I associate with being £200. Like, it's normally fairly cheap stuff. Like, if you're going to get a malt whiskey, it's like the lowest end of the price scale. But I guess they produce like special editions and things. I'll keep that in mind. But man, £200 for a bottle of whiskey is a lot.
Bone Tomahawk, by the way, that is a movie that is strictly in the category of they make themselves look a lot better than their budget. Feels like a really high budget movie, but it's not. I'm always impressed by that.
Yeah, I mean they had Kurt Russell for that, didn't they?
He's great in it, but he's great in everything. So
that's Kurt Russell, isn't it? And they had that guy from Watchmen, who I can never remember. He's been in loads of films, but I always forget who he is.
Oh, I know exactly who you mean. And I'm blanking on his name. He's in everything, but I don't know what his name is.
Fuck it, I'm gonna have to find this out now.
I feel bad too because like, has he ever done a performance to you that you're like, wow, he's pretty great as an actor?
I mean, I liked him in Watchmen. I think he played, he played Night Owl really well.
Patrick Wilson, that's it.
Oh fuck, he's right down the list as well. Yeah, Patrick Wilson.
I like him, but I don't know that I've loved him in anything.
No. You know what he reminds me of? Because someone asked me earlier about Kevin Costner.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I would put him into the same category, like a guy who you're just like, he's all right.
There he is.
And you quite like him, and it's like I feel like he's never really been involved in anything, controversial or anything. He's never really exposed himself as being a total prick. So you just kind of like him, and he's just like a kind of solid, reliable actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been in loads of things as well. Apparently, he was in Batman versus Superman as the president of the United States. Fucking who knew?
Wait, Patrick Wilson?
Yeah.
That,
must have been a small role.
oh, maybe he's only a speaking role or something? Because that does not ring any bells at all.
It could be. Yeah, he was in the A-Team. I remember him from that. Yeah. Well, he's going to be in Aquaman as well. Or Aquaman 2.
Well, yeah, he was Ocean Master.
Ocean Master. I thought he died in that movie.
No, Aquaman spared him and captured him. I think the idea is they want him to be the Loki of the DCU. I don't know if that's still on the table at this point.
Okay. I mean, who knows with DC? Anything could happen. Mandy Caravicius says, I've told every YouTuber that I sub to, the Critical Drinker is the only one who says my last name correctly. A couple of them had choice words, but I've made them feel ashamed of themselves, hopefully. Damn. I hope I got it right there, because I just kind of blurred through it.
Whenever someone tells me I pronounced anything right, I'm like, have I done it again, or have I fucked it up this time?
Yeah. Then you start second-guessing yourself and get it wrong next time. Anna Marie Evans, are you both excited for the new Ghostbusters? I mean, I suspect I was a bit more excited than you were, MauLer. But yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
Well, to be fair, your review of it is, I feel like I was hoping it would be more than that. So now I'm a little bit like, I'm not too interested in seeing it. I will see it, but I'm not like revved up to go see it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame you. And like I say, I didn't want to like undersell the movie, but I also don't want to create unfair expectations for people. It's not some work of genius or anything. But it did feel like it was quite well intentioned.
Yeah.
Jode Elio said, Drinker, Midnight Run. If you've not seen, watch and please review. Epic characters and story. Love your work. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'll keep Midnight Run in mind. So that gets us, that gets us through all of the ones that we had outstanding from last time.
Oh wow!
But we're
not even in an hour yet.
I know. We must have been fairly close to the end then, but there is a few from tonight. If you've got time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Joshua Levesque says, "Hey Drinker, how can I contact you privately? I mean, are you in the mood for a private dance or something? That's Tatiana's realm. Yeah, I mean, normally you would just email me, I suppose, through like the business email address, just on my YouTube channel. That's probably the best way. What's the next one? River Master, Ocean Master is a prick. I just like that one. Where are you? Where's the list? Honor Immortal says, is Tarzan a superhero? Discuss. I don't think he is technically, because he doesn't have any powers. He's just a dude who can swing.
So the problem comes in with Batman, right? He doesn't have any superpowers, but he does have the tech in the same way Tony Stark has the tech. And so does Tarzan.
Tarzan doesn't have tech or powers, so he's just
a guy who's doing the right thing, and we just call them heroes. Can
he talk to animals? No, he can't really, can he? He's just sort of lives around them.
I was going to say, did I forget Tarzan can talk to animals, or is it? I can't. Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah, Tarzan.
Or was it just like in interpretations, different animals can talk to him? I don't know.
I'm going to put in Tarzan powers. See what comes up.
Tarzan powers.
He's able to swing through the trees, slide across branches, hold things with his feet, and had a good sense of smell and hearing. Yeah, fuck you. That's not powers.
There's no shame. He's just a hero. You know, he's a good old-fashioned hero.
Yeah, just not super.
Nope.
Also, greatest detective, barman or Sherlock? I assume that's meant to be Batman.
Barman.
My money's on barman. To be honest, they're great at finding things out. Yeah, Batman or Sherlock.
You love Batman, but I mean, that's Sherlock's whole thing. Batman has loads of things going on, so you assume that Sherlock's going to be number one.
Yeah, because Sherlock he just solves the crimes. He doesn't really fight the criminals, whereas barman just goes out and beats the shit out of them after finding out who they are. Beer, just throws them. He gets them drunk until they're like unsuspecting, then he just like handcuffs them and takes them away.
It's like Duffman. Do you remember him from
Yeah, when he's like suing Duff Brewery and it's like, Duffman has been mismanaged. Oh yeah. Matthew Valente, you have to see this. Look up Ghostbusters Afterlife is garbage. Okay.
It's like a review, is it?
I assume so, yeah. I wonder who it's by. I'm not gonna obviously play it all here. Oh gosh, there's a lot of them.
No. Does that movie piss people off, maybe? I don't know.
So I'm gonna narrow it down here. Garbage. So well, there's one from Dead Metal Media, which is that's only had less than 10k views. Chris Stuckman giving nothing away. It's just movie review. You don't say, Chris.
Ghostbusters Afterlife was directed by, I don't know, it was made or,
The Escapist. They're like, Ghostbusters Afterlife is a lifeless franchise resurrection. Oh, Escapist, you madman.
And 2016, that was very lifeful as a resurrection, I suppose.
Yeah. Jeremy Jans, just again, movie review. Why do I feel like him and Chris Stuckman are just the same person, essentially?
I mean,
I feel they basically the same thing.
They do. It's the same format, but I feel like Jeremy Jans has way more personality than Chris Stuckman, and he's willing to be more edgy, to actually give his opinion instead of just going with the fence.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure which one it is, unless it's some article or whatever that I've not seen. But I know the Guardian lost their shit over it. They were like, "This is the worst movie I've ever seen because it erases the original." It's yeah, that's why. Sorry, it erases the 2016 version.
I was going to say, Drinker, what are you saying right
now? Yeah, Night King 01. Have you seen Midnight Mass? Great show. Yeah, I've seen it. Why not? I'm just gonna go with that now, just to placate people. OMG Puppies says, just watched HBO The Nevers. The cons are Joss Whedon, feminism. Pros, Joss Whedon, steampunk, good story writing. Last episode was a real mindfuck. You're a Joss Whedon man. You might know more about this than me.
I watched, I think, half a season. I think there's half a season that's out. I'm not even sure how it's working, but I watched it with Rags and Fringy. We were not happy with the plot, very happy with the characters, which is very common for Joss Whedon. World building is the kind of thing. I say world building, and if you only see the first couple of episodes, you might be like, what do you mean world building? You'd be like, well, without spoiling anything, that last episode changes everything, and it's pretty damn cool. I think I would recommend it. Especially, I think there's a lot of people out there who would end up adoring it. Unfortunately, because of what happened with Joss Whedon, that show has just been tanked. I don't even know that it's just gonna be buried. I don't even know if it's getting what's happening with it next. But lots of great acting, cool premise, really interesting twists in the last episode for the show going forward. But like, there's still problems for writing. Very much a Joss Whedon project, if you're familiar with this stuff.
I feel like he's just a pariah now in Hollywood, isn't it? It's like everything that he's involved in just gets shit canned. Man, how the mighty have fallen, Joss.
He's done though. I'd be curious if he's got any chance of coming back. I'm assuming he doesn't.
I don't know, man. I mean, he's they don't. There's nothing they hate more than one of their own turning against them or being exposed as, you know, not as righteous as he thought he was. So
he's been sacrificed,
pretty much.
Plenty of them could be sacrificed, but he's been chosen for the altar. So it's like, you gotta go. He probably even knows that. Yeah.
Here's the real question we're asking, though. Have you seen Lunchtime Mass? It's not as scary.
Lunchtime Mass. Oh, God.
Where can we go with this? Breakfast Mass. What's the next one? B says, does Tatiana actually exist? Are you suggesting she doesn't? Next question. Crusty Jugglers. I just caught up on MCU movies other than certain exceptions. Infinity War blew my mind, and then after Infinity War, I watched Hot Fuzz again last night for the greater good. I can't watch it enough. I mean, that's a hell of a trip to go on. Watching Infinity War and then going on to Hot Fuzz.
And we did coverage of all the Cornetto movies. You should go watch those after the stream.
Yeah. We had a great time talking about them. It's just great films. The provocateur extraordinaire. Drinker, sir, did your agent ever get back to you about the book jacket mix-up? Also, Kevin Costner is a head of cabbage that repeats lines. Fine. Yeah, they did. I think it was just a mix-up with Amazon's like print-on-demand service. I don't know if I'd ever mentioned this to you, but yeah, like someone showed me a video where they'd ordered 2 copies of my book, Ghost Target. One of them was totally fine. It was just a regular copy. The other one, it had Ghost Target on the front cover, but then when they opened it up, it was like a book on Chinese Marxist economic theory. The most random fucking thing.
That sounds hilarious. I love the idea that they read like half of it. They're like, drink it.
You're so political, Drinker. Jesus. Yeah, I assume it was just a fuck up with the printing service, and these things happen sometimes. But yeah, I've never encountered it before. It's truly a one-off. So yeah, hold on to that copy, man, because it could be worth something one day. Hobo Chili Recipe says, Drinker, just a little Skrilla for the war chest. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Jesse Miller at the Crow's Nest says, hey, Drinker, can you say hi to my friend Charlie? He's watched all of your videos. Hi, Charlie. I hope you're enjoying my stuff, man. And I appreciate the support. Thank you. Mark Martin. Hi, Critical Drinker. What is the background of She-Hulk? Does she turn into the She-Hulk like Bruce when angry or getting turned on? Wink, wink. Yeah. I'm not a comic book expert on this one, but I think she does have a kind of different... she functions slightly differently as a character, doesn't she? Like when she's She-Hulk, she's not filled with rage like Bruce is. She doesn't just go around destroying things. She's like much more intelligent. I'm gonna need to find this out actually, because I've seen lots of different versions of her, and I think they've gone for this like more restrained version for the TV show. Right, She-Hulk. Oh fucking hell! This is a long one. Okay. Yeah. So Walters, so the Jennifer Walters is like the real person's name. She's a lawyer who, after an injury, received an emergency blood transfusion from her cousin, Bruce Banner, and acquired a milder version of his Hulk condition. As such, she becomes a large, powerful, green-hued version of herself. But unlike Banner, she still largely retains her personality. In particular, she retains the majority of her intelligence and emotional control, although, like Hulk, she is susceptible to outbursts of anger and becomes stronger when enraged. Right, okay. So,
all right.
Yeah, she's just like a toned down version of him then. So fair enough. Dane Thorson says, what are your thoughts on the Foundation TV series, especially casting? I know fuck all about Foundation, so I can't tell you a single thing. I know
gotten praise and complaints from Superchats about this show. I've not seen it though, obviously.
Yeah, I can't tell you a thing about it, mate. I don't know. Claudio Rogajan says, you're going to disagree with me, but I don't like Joker that much, but that's a personal thing. I just don't think Joker should have an origin story, personally. No, I mean, that's fair enough, man. It does take the whole chronology of the character into really murky waters, and there's a million theories floating around to explain how this Joker functions, and, you know, that it's not really the Joker, it's just some weird early precursor to him. You can see it lots of different ways, but I try to just take the movie on its own merits as a standalone story that's really not tied into any of the rest of the mythos. And in that respect, I find it really enjoyable.
I'm blown away we got a movie like that at the mainstream level that's that well constructed. And yeah, if you just try and separate it a little bit from your expectations of the Joker as a character, then you know, because I know a lot of comic fans weren't happy with different choices and stuff, and a lot of people, I think, I can't remember if Az is one of these sort of approaches, but it's just like it's a film on its own, and they slapped Joker onto it, which I think that's fair enough. I don't particularly mind myself.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with it. Sunhawk says, "Hey, Drinker, have you seen The Turning, the one with Gillian Anderson?" No, I haven't actually, and I do like me a bit of Gillian Anderson. Let me see. Turning. That is... so a young governess begins to care for two wealthy orphan children who live in a huge mysterious estate. Soon she discovers that both children are hiding dark secrets as she has strange experiences. That sounds an awful lot like Bly Manor. Yeah, it's not got a great rating. It's got 13% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That could mean anything.
On IMDb. Yeah. 62% of Google users liked the film.
Google were the kindest out of the three.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that one then. Next one. Errol Daniel says, there should be a button on the wall of cinemas labeled cinema or studio. Your money goes to your choice so bad movies don't get rewarded. I like that, actually. Christ, Marvel would go bankrupt. Vanilla Gorilla, hail gents, Drinker, you whiskey-soaked wordsmith. Do you have any advice on how to get a story idea onto the page? Yeah, okay, so a lot of this is just going to come down to discipline and kind of grinding your way through it, whether you're talking about a novel or a screenplay. Yeah, like if it's a novel, for example, like plot it out in advance. You know, take some time, write 10, 15-page synopsis of everything that happens in your story. Work out all the kinks in it so that you don't write yourself into a corner and you don't fuck up something and you don't have a big plot hole that you never noticed before. And once you're really happy with that, then start writing your book. And yeah, you've just got to set time aside for it each day, and you've got to keep that momentum going with it, because yeah, if you leave it for a week or two, you'll find it very difficult to get back into your writing. That's what works for me. I've got to keep the momentum going. And yeah, there's going to be times when you get bored with it and that it becomes a real bind, but you've just got to power through that, because that's how you ultimately get it finished. So that's the best advice I can give you. You've just got to keep grinding those pages out each day. Do it now. Matt Deckard, Gotham is best when it's Chicago. Visit Chicago. Yeah. Yeah, Chicago's got those elevated railways and stuff, haven't they? And it's just a much more sort of gritty town, I suppose. New York obviously went really like upscale from like the 1980s onwards. Like it just become flush with cash, and so everything's like clean and shiny now. Yeah, Night King 01 says, what's sad is Clancy Brown got paid almost nothing to play the Kurgan in Highlander. Aw, because Arnold turned it down. It's weird knowing he voices Mr. Krabs.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, Clancy Brown was great in that movie. I could not imagine Arnold playing the Kurgan.
Remember him? He
played
the devil.
To fade away.
Yeah, he played the devil guy in Mandalorian season 1. Do you remember that? In the Bill Burr episode.
Yeah. He crops up in strange places, does Clancy?
Yeah, he just turns up and is like, hey.
It's always nice to see him.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him in Starship Troopers. I thought he was great.
Oh, he was awesome in that, yeah.
Just breaking people's arms. It's like, medic! Danny Numero says, thoughts on Mass Effect series? Any chance you could do a stream of those games at some point? Good question. I've only played one of them, and I enjoyed it at the time. I don't think I got to the point of completing it, but I know it's been remastered recently, and so one of my friends has been on at me constantly to play them. He's like, it'll change your perception of games forever. And I'm like,
I'm in the same
okay,
boat as that.
challenge accepted. Yeah, I'd quite like to do a stream of me like playing that. It should be interesting. But yeah, definitely up for playing them. Just need to set aside around 200 hours to do it. TK Guy 76. Hey guys, have you seen the movie Wind River? Definitely worth a watch.
I've not.
Wind River, not. Doesn't ring a bell. Who's in it? Right. Matthew George, Basil Peterberg. Nah, nobody big in it. A wildlife officer who's haunted by a tragedy that happened because of him teams up with an FBI agent in solving a murder and hopes to get redemption from his past regrets. Nah, it's not familiar, man. Sorry. Weakest Link says, we'd love to see a Last of the Mohicans review. You know, it's funny, I was actually watching a bit of that earlier. Great movie. And yeah, it's definitely going to get reviewed by me because I do like it. Rapscanal says, Rafa Canal, says, I'm a Star Wars fan, but Wrath of Khan is just an excellent movie. Cheers from Brazil. No argument there whatsoever. Goob says, when you get Razorfist on, I would love to see you two discuss Night Vale pulp fantasy book series. You should check out The Long Moonlights. Okay, well, I mean, if I can get him on, because I did tweet him about it, and then he retweeted my tweet, but then didn't respond to it, so I don't know what he means. But he has been invited, so my door's open to him. Weakest Link also says, have either of you gents seen HBO's Deadwood? I did watch a bit of it back in the day. I loved Ian McShane in it. Yeah, it's just a good series. I love him
in everything. He's great.
He's come a long way from... what the fuck did he used to be in? Oh, Christ. It's totally gone out of my head now. It'll come back to me at some point later on tonight. John says, Alien Nation started out with a movie, then got turned into a TV series. That makes sense. I think the original movie had James Caan in it. Damn, that's some good casting in that case. But it does explain then the discrepancy. Claudio Rogajan says, another recommendation, crime story, Jackie Chan, probably his most serious film, opens with guys mowing down civilians with AKs. Also, he uses a gun in it, which is rare for him. So, crime story. Yeah. Jackie Chan's been in like 1 million movies. It's insane. Sean Keegan says, have a drink on me. Probably been asked before, but will you do a special on hitting 1 million subs? And when you started on here, did you ever think you would get this far? Cheers. P.S. Arcane on Netflix is great. Okay, good recommendation. Yeah, I'm going to do a live stream to celebrate if I get to 1 million. So that should be good. Much booze will be consumed. And yeah, when I started, I just never even thought about it, to be honest. When my channel first took off, it was a kind of crazy month when I went from having a few hundred subscribers to having, 1,000. And it was like, woohoo, I can monetize my channel. I didn't think this would happen this year. And then it's like, I've got 10,000 and then 15,000 and 20,000. And yeah, getting to 100,000, I was like, holy shit. Like, I never expected even this to happen.
Your channel was much more ironic for a little patch, right? There was a time where the idea was that you'd argue the reverse. It was like, there's channels that do that still for like writing and stuff. But yeah, that's when I first noticed that your channel existed. I was like, caught my eye with the title, like something like, Ray is an amazing character or something.
That was my initial thought, because like it was a Captain Marvel vid that first blew up, and it was a sarcastic one. And I thought, okay, could it all be like this then? And I just do the reverse of whatever I think. And so I produce videos like, the genius of The Last Jedi, and just like backhanded like insults about everything in it. But then I realized, like, okay, it's going to become impossible to make serious points about certain things, like, because there's a whole bunch of stuff I want to do. And when it comes to actually praising something that I like, am I going to have to then, slate it? And then are people really going to understand what I'm doing there, or are they just going to think I'm being a dick? And I realized, I'm going to have to like I'm going to have to go for a more, serious or straight up way of doing it, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I do roll it out every so often. Just when something is like super woke or super ridiculous, I'll just break out the sarcasm and praise the hell out of it. So it's good to know I can still do it. Yeah, I think I did it for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, actually. Yeah, where I was like, it's the bestest show ever made or something.
Oh, God. And yeah, when you hit 1 million, you have to just invite everybody, basically, and make sure everyone's got something of a variable. It doesn't have to be alcohol. It could be anything.
Yeah. It'll be the most open of open bars. Let whoever wants to come in. But yeah, I mean, like, even I say getting to 100,000, 1 million just seemed ridiculously far off, and I thought I'm not even going to imagine being at that point because it just seems, ridiculous. But yeah, it seems like I'm almost there. So damn, it's been a hell of a ride.
Oh, yeah. Definitely gonna make it. just don't say anything too controversial for a month or so.
Don't fuck it up now, drinker. Monster Kill says, watched a cool show with a great ending recently. It's called The Kyle Rittenhouse Trial. You saw it.
Yeah, man.
Twists and turns.
It was really like amazing 8-hour episodes. Really strange format. A lot of people tuned in. It's going to be a whole new thing. It's interesting. Yeah.
Oh man, it was crazy stuff. I mean, I was just looking at Rakita Law's channel because I think they became like the main YouTube channel covering it, and just him and a bunch of other lawyers just giving their opinions of it as they went. And man, you should see what it's done to his channel. Like, I think he was at like 40,000 subs. Now he's at like 300,000. It's just exploded.
I would keep it up, man. Keep covering. What does the audience want at that point? Is it just your cover, an alternative take on like court cases and stuff?
I think so. People in chat were saying like, "Oh, well, the Chris Chan like trial will be on soon." That'll get you to 1 million, mate.
God, do you want to cover that though? The details of that case.
It's just going to be him dry heaving his way through the trial. Like, oh God, no.
But yeah, you never know when a career could just explode as a result of like whatever's happening. I've said before, and I don't know if you have a similar sort of perspective on this in some ways, but Ryan Johnson, man, there's a good chance I would shake his hand before shouting at him in real life. I'd be like, it was your work that gave me a chance to have anything of a career on YouTube, really.
Yeah, ultimately, yeah. But then start berating him,
Yeah, I'd be like, fuck you also.
Yeah. So this one, that's my dog. It's a greyhound. Lara, are you awake? No? She's just going to glare at me. You going to move? No, I think, yeah. They kind of go into like sleep mode for about 23 hours a day, so I guess that's what she's doing right now. Anyway, yeah, it's a greyhound. What's the next one? Alpha Dog Elite gave me a $5 super sticker saying critical hit. Thank you. Wormy Spoon says, drinker, do yourself and your wee brain a favor and watch Raised by Wolves. I will, and give us a cheeky wee battered Mars bar review. Honestly, you will be happy. I'm hoping I will. I should do a battered Mars bar like food review as well at some point. You'll love it. It'll probably shorten my life for sure. Gareth Sherman says, you guys should check out YouTuber The Act Man. He loves video games and a great video game critic. Check out his The Decline of Gaming.
We've had him on EFAT before. We're going to try and get him back again to talk some Halo at some point. But yeah, he's a good lad. He's done a lot of stuff for Halo as a YouTuber.
Nice. No, that would be interesting actually. Yeah, I've not had many like gaming channels on. I think I had G-Man on a couple of times just to talk a couple of movies, but that's been pretty much it. Marcus Sivonen says, hi from Finland. Original V TV series is a classic. Yeah, like I say, it's been a long time for me, but I do remember it being kind of fun at times. Angry Drunken German says, drinker, you doing an episode of Half in the Bag seems like a perfect collab. Would you take the flight to get tanked and watch films in the Midwest? Yeah, sure. I don't think the Red Letter Media guys interact with other YouTubers like in any meaningful way. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, except for Pat and Oswald, they seem to just not interact with anybody at all. They're like on a different planet.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just a a real strategy they've adopted. Like, okay, avoid any kind of controversy just by not talking to anyone.
No guilt by association at that point.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's fair enough. It's their choice. It's like, I'm sure there's lots of channels they probably could have helped out by just giving them a bit of a boost, but hey, it's up to them. Jake DeVita says, your review of Different Destinations introduced me to Farscape, and I absolutely loved it. Very much looking forward to your series review. Nice one, man. And yeah, I'm glad I got another person into Farscape.
You plan on doing a series review?
Yeah, I'm not going to do every episode or anything, but I'll just give an overall impression of the show, I suppose.
You're going to rewatch it for that?
I'll probably watch select episodes. Like only the good ones. No, there's I should try and get a mix, because there's definitely episodes that were kind of shit. Especially series 1 and 4. There was a lot of dross in there, but there was a lot of absolute gems as well. So
yeah,
it would be interesting to talk about, I think. Weakest Link 41 says, moving from the film medium to video games, I'd love to hear your thoughts on BioShock. Yeah, I mean, I think you and I have both played the BioShock games, haven't we? There's
a full stream of it on my channel, on the front page at the bottom. I think you can find if you really want to know everything I think about all of it, because yeah, BioShock's one of my favorite games of all time, probably.
Yep. Really, you know, both games, because I don't really care about BioShock 2, where you're kind of playing as a big daddy or whatever, but yeah, the two main ones like that and BioShock Infinite, they just play around with really interesting ideas, and they do it in a really smart way. And yeah, just had a blast with both of them.
It feels so awkward. I fucking hate BioShock Infinite.
Do you?
It's one of my most hated pieces of media in existence.
Why? Watch
Matthew Matosas' video on it. It's like 40 minutes. He sums up everything I despise about that game.
Okay.
So BioShock 1 is like glorious to me, and then Infinite is like taking everything from BioShock 1 and dumbing it down or inverting it to be terrible.
I just felt like it went on a completely different path. You know, when it deals with like multiple realities and stuff, and like the predestination of Booker's life, you know, and whether he's going to turn into what the hell is the guy's name?
Comstock,
yeah. Yeah, just I don't know. I really got into the characters. I really liked Elizabeth and Booker. Loved their relationship and how it changes over the course of the game. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'd be interested to see other people's takes on it.
Broadly, like all that predestination stuff makes no sense when you really delve into it. All their abilities to portal through different dimensions, they never use it to their actual advantage, just to push plot to exactly where the writers wanted it to go. Elizabeth's not a real character. She's like a Disney princess. She's been locked in this castle type of thing. And yet she's like perfectly socially adjusted. Like she's wonderful and bubbly when she's like had one of the worst upbringings possible for a human being. And then I think they completely waste their ideas on, like, they clearly want to address some stuff that's controversial and relatively deep, but then they just sort of abandon it because they don't really know what to say about it. That's again, fully recommend Matthew Matosas' video on it. He does it pretty quickly, and he'll explain everything that's fucking terrible about that game. Sorry, okay. I'm very passionate about that one, so I'm just like, yes, it's fine. It's great.
No. Well, I'd rather you were honest than be like, oh yeah, this is a good game, I suppose. No, I'd be interested to know more in that case. Rob H says, happy Sunday, Drinker and not Short Man. Drinker had a question. Is there a plan for the day it takes multiple catch-up streams for the Superchats? I mean, you know, obviously it's the nature of doing these streams like on a Thursday. When you've got a big panel of people on, everyone's got things they want to talk about. And by the time you get to the Superchats, there's like dozens and dozens of them that have built up, and you just can't get through them all that night. If it got to the point where I needed like multiple catch-up streams, I don't know what I'd have to do, man. And there'd have to be a way of prioritizing it or something, because I think you guys on EFAP have got the same problem where there's just like a huge backlog of stuff to get through.
Which is especially bad when we have like events or longer streams, because it just packs up. But we're still getting there. We really are I can't wait to say that we've caught up, because we've done so many 7 to 8 hour streams to catch up. We're still just not there. It's it's the matter. Sometimes we had it yesterday where someone will ask a question, For example, someone asked us, what's worse, the guy on OnlyFans giving like thousands of dollars to a girl, or the guy who's buying thousands of dollars worth of skins in form of microtransactions? We talked about that for like 40 minutes. Because it's like there's just so many angles, and we were trying to figure it out from those different, points of view.
Yeah,
we didn't come up with an answer. We tried.
I mean, damn, man, it's respectable that you spent that amount of time. It's like, yeah, we're going to get a properly formulated, argument for this one, and really get down into it.
Well, yeah, it's funny when the next one is like Peen Wizard, and we're like, all right. Now on to the third
one. What's the next one? So Loyal Companion says, hey, Drinker, keep up the good work. MauLer, since Christmas is so near, can you react to the Star Wars Holiday Special with the EFAP crew if you haven't seen it?
I've definitely seen it, at least in the form of seeing everyone review it. I can't remember if I actually watched it on its own. We'll do it. I don't know what Christmas we'll do it, but we will. Same for Nightmare Before Christmas. That's, we'll want to do that. But these are the kind of things where it's like it's kind of one and done. We don't really intend to do EFAP movies twice of anything. So it's just a matter of, will it be this year? And who will we bring? Who knows? Big maybe. Maybe.
Senator Mayo says, there has been no better time to enjoy the cinema. They are empty, no one's eating hot dogs or using their bloody phones. Thoughts? Yeah, they're definitely quieter than they used to be, that's for sure. It always pisses me off, and it always surprises me when people buy cinema food. Like, they buy like a big tray of nachos and cheese and shit to bring in with them. Like, why? If you want to have a meal, eat something beforehand. Don't get cinema food. It's like the lowest quality shit you can eat.
When my cinema introduced hot food, I was like, fuck you. It's so smelly. And you bring in a full meal and just what are you doing? Go have a meal afterwards.
I did see one guy who brought in a full tray. He had nachos, the cheese, the salsa and all that stuff. Laid it down on the top of his seat, forgetting that the seat will fold down under the weight of it. And so, he'd put his seat down, laid the nachos and cheese down on it while he took his jacket off or something, and the seat just flipped up and all the shit just onto the floor.
Yeah, that's what you get.
And he just stood there for a moment, looked at it, and just went
yeah,
just hung his head, nothing else to be said. It's just fucking hell, man. There's just no need for all that stuff. It's you can't go 2 hours without fucking eating. Seamus McBride says, do you have any audiobooks on Audible? Because I've got a bunch of credits. Yeah, all my books are on Audible, so you can hear all of them. I don't know why you haven't been able to find them in that case. But yeah, they're there and ready to go. Wormy Spoons says, how dare you? Tatiana is real. Stop stealing my dreams. She's my dream too, so keep your hands off her. Zach Zalak says, an anime that is mysteriously much overlooked. Golgo 13, The Professional, the most balls-out old-school macho anime male character other than Violence Jack. Yeah, I'll take your word for that one, man. Golgo 13, The Professional. Yomsi, dear Mr. Drinker, would you be interested in watching Arcane anytime soon? Love your content. Keep up the good work. Thanks very much. Let's see how long it is. Arcane TV series. So, man, it's got good ratings. So it's set in the League of Legends universe.
Honestly, man, everyone's been fully recommending it. I'm gonna have to watch it at some point now because it's getting higher critical acclaim than Squid Game. It's all right,
holy shit. Yeah, I mean, it's one season, 9 episodes. Fair enough. It shouldn't be that hard to do. Yeah, it's only been out for a few weeks. Started at the beginning of November. Cool. Might need to give that a watch too. Feels like I've got lots of TV shows lined up, which is good because I've been a bit lacking in them recently.
Yeah, and Better Call Saul's final season is going to be happening at the beginning of next year, I think, is it? Last I checked. So, how far have you seen with that?
One episode.
Well, there you go. You'll have to watch all of that. That's going to be hype as fuck because Bob Odenkirk is currently in the realm of one of the most beloved celebrities I think that exists now.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be doing a sequel to Nobody, won't he?
Well,
I would imagine.
It's funny. I don't typically do this with celebrities, but I was automatically like, "Be careful, Bob. All right," because nobody's a bit more intensive, and I like you, so be careful.
Yeah, he's had a bit of trouble. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I was put off by Better Call Saul because a friend of mine was a massive fan of Breaking Bad, and he got straight into Better Call Saul when it came out. And he was like, yeah, I mean, you kind of just have to power through the first season, but it starts to pick up like midway through season 2. And I thought, damn, that's a lot of episodes to slog through if it's kind of dull and a bit shit. I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
Lack of Attack says, would you recommend starting with world building and then story and character, or vice versa? Good question. So, I mean, I don't know. Is it really a case that you have to start with one of those things? Like, normally your characters are your window into the world. Whether you get them talking about certain things or just what they're walking through, what they're experiencing, what they're doing, the information they choose to share with each other. Those are all aspects of world building anyway. But if I had to choose, I'd probably go story and character first and then fill in the blanks with world building if I had to do it that way, rather than the other way around.
I don't quite characterize it the same way. Story to me is just the umbrella term that sits above character, theme, plot, worlds, which I consider the 4 sections of writing. Like everything forms into one of those 4, and then story is just what those make. So priority for me is character, but I understand. I think you can take priority for any of them, honestly, at your preference as a writer. Just be careful, because if you start with maybe like, you can do this with all of them. If you start with theme, you're like a certain Johnson with TLJ, then it fucks all the characters up because they have to conform to what you think the theme should be. And then in similar way, like I think the safest one to start with is character. As long as you get them set and then you build everything else on top of them, you should be okay in terms of safety. But again, there's talented writers that start with any of them. So.
Stephen Hart says, seasons 1 and 2 of Enterprise were garbage, so I gave up on it at the time. Recently, I watched seasons 3 and 4. Season 3 was okay, but I loved season 4. That's what a lot of people have said. Yeah, it really found its feet at the end, but it was too late. Mistress Geneva says, can you review Battle Los Angeles and Battle Royale? So many battles. They're some of my favorite movies from 2000 and 2011. They deserve more love. I did a stream with Az, actually, where we talked quite a bit about Battle Royale. It's on his channel. I think it was like his version of Happy Hour. And it was great. Yeah, it was just great to relive that movie. Yeah, it felt like a real trailblazer at the time, and I can't believe how fucking old it is now. Yeah, I just love the unfettered, like, unfair violence of it, and how, some kids could be given like a submachine gun, and others could be given a fucking frying pan. Brutal. But yeah, Battle Los Angeles, I just remember that as just being kind of a fun alien invasion movie. Just lots of shooty action. It was pretty good. Yeah, I'd put it under the same category as something like the Tomorrow War, where it's like pretty undemanding. It's just a good old fashioned action movie.
We've got EFAP movies for that. That's like buried in my hard drive. One day it'll come out, but we were all baffled by the Tomorrow War.
There's a lot to unpick from it, I think. It always seemed like that kind of movie where it's just like, I don't think too much about it. Just, just have fun. Yojimbo says, Drinker, hail and howdy. Hope you're having a banging good time with the lovely Tatiana tonight. That's every night. How do you guys like 28 Days Later? Cheers. I love it.
Yeah, I like the whole bunch.
Totally revamped the zombie genre and just reinvigorated it. Done on a pretty small budget as well, so it was very impressive. And I just think it's a great movie. Not much I can criticize with it. The Whitfield Report. Hey Drinker, have you watched Dexter? And if so, have you watched the new miniseries, Have a Few Beers on Me? No, I haven't. And I know it was famously like terrible at the end. It was just let down by a terrible final season. And this new miniseries is trying to make amends for it. But I don't know much beyond that. I don't even know if the new one's meant to be any good or not. Maybe Chat can help me out on this one.
I think, has watched it? I know someone's watched it that I know of. But yeah, I never really was that interested in Dexter. I only know it has a bad ending.
Yeah, so we were talking about this earlier from Curios. What about Cowboy Bebop's live action? Yeah, neither MauLer nor I have seen it, nor do we know much about Cowboy Bebop in general. So we feel like we're kind of just outside all of this wrangling that's going on over it. It's like I don't really have a dog in this fight, if I'm honest with you.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm seeing everyone so angry, and I'm just like, sorry, guys, that you ended up with such shit.
I mean, I could review the live action, but I would be reviewing it on its own merits and not in relation to the anime. So I don't know if I would have the same level of anger. You know, well, they've ruined this character or that character. It's like, well, I don't know what they were meant to be like to begin with.
And that's the kind of thing I think that people would be like, you need to watch the original before you judge this. Like, people would feel the review is incomplete without you addressing how it is in an adaptation, probably.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, let someone else take this one, I suppose. Because, well, obviously it's completely up to you, but I'm just so out of the loop on it. I'm just like, yeah, I'm seeing everyone else review it, and it's like, good stuff.
I'm just looking to see what the consensus from chat is about Dexter. So the last 2 seasons went awful. Yeah. The new season is very average. Oh.
Okay.
That's depressing. Yeah, I kind of hoped it would either be like amazing or terrible. So at least there was something either way. But if it's just like, meh, it's all right. Yeah, new season of Dexter is okay so far. Nothing great, but I've only seen 2 episodes.
Man, the enthusiasm here.
Yeah. Right, okay. Leave that for now. So, Ackles Floozy says, what do either of you think about the movie Stargate or this SG-1 TV show? I quite like the movie from back in the day. Another Kurt Russell film. Yeah, I think they did a great job to, like, you know, give it a much broader scope for the TV show. And yeah, it was one of those great 90s, early 2000s sci-fi shows. It kind of ran at the same period as Farscape, but achieved just like way more success because it was a much more conventional sci-fi show. But yeah, I thought the characters were good. A lot of the writing was really good. Some of the episodes were genuinely great fun, and not much I can criticize with it. I think it just ran out of steam by the end. They'd done everything, and there's not really anywhere else they could take it. Did you? I mean, have you seen it, MauLer?
Sorry, what thing?
Stargate, SG-1.
I have memories of possibly having seen it, but it's so vague at this point, I may as well not have seen it.
Right.
So yeah, no, basically.
Okay. Will Gentry says, can't believe you pronounced Wrath wrong. It's pronounced Roth. The Roth of Khan. No, that just sounds wrong. Mikey Gusler says, what's your take on people claiming that a film over 2 hours is a failure because the crew behind the film aren't talented enough to get its point across in a decent runtime? For me, it depends on the film. I have no limits. Yeah, I'd agree with you. Like, I don't think a film needs to be constrained into a 2 hour runtime. I would generally always push for a film to be as lean as it can be, because I appreciate a film that, you know, has a nice, efficient script that can get its points across in a good runtime. But yeah, it doesn't have to have an arbitrary 2 hour time limit. If it needs to be 2.5 or 3 hours, fine.
TV shows are just really long movies. So, like, you know, there's just set breaks, right? It's like 40 minutes and you can do whatever you want. Now you commit to the next one if you want to. But, I mean, we can pause movies. We can pause anything anyway. Not in the theater, I mean. For me, it's just what they're achieving per time. It could be 10 hours. It could be half an hour. It's just... you know, like if it was half an hour of a guy in a room doing his taxes versus 5 hours of watching Infinity War and Endgame back to back when they were first released, it's like, I know what I'm picking.
This was one of the things I picked up about Squid Game that was interesting. It's like there was really no structure to the length of their episodes. You know, you could have an episode that was over an hour, or you could have one that was like 28 minutes or something. It was bonkers. But I guess they just stuck to whatever they needed to tell in that episode, and they didn't put filler in it, and they didn't cut things unnecessarily. Got to respect it. I don't know if this all ties into, I think it was Script Doctor who said something on Twitter about, you know, the lengths of each of these genres of movies. Like, you know, horror films should be no more than 90 minutes long and that sort of thing. And I think a lot of people pushed back on it. These
restrictions are so arbitrary sometimes. I love that Lord of the Rings exists as well. It's just this fucking 12-hour Leviathan that's like, do you want me to be 2 hours? Like, no.
Yeah. CPO Fast Forward says, gents, what are your favorite watering holes not in the UK? How do I answer that? Like bars that I've been to in other parts of the world? Like,
don't often visit watering holes outside of the UK, so.
I mean, most of the time I just can't remember them. Like, or I couldn't even remember the name, you know, if I tried. I've been to some lovely bars in Prague. Like, they have got, like, it's a beautiful city anyway, and they've got so many great, like, vodka bars and stuff. Brilliant. Same with Krakow in Poland. Great places to drink there. And for some reason, super cheap over there. Don't know why, but yeah, any spirits or anything, they're just like anything that was made somewhat locally. It's just like dirt cheap. So yeah, that's the place to drink, man. But yeah, apart from that, I'm just trying to think. I went to a nice beachfront bar in Florida, at Cocoa Beach. That was awesome. Like, it was right on the end of a big long pier, and yeah, you could just watch the sunset as you get drunk. It's like not a bad way to live. And now here I am in Scotland in November. Yay! Maka Jr. says you should watch the movie Kokoda. It's an Australian World War II movie about the fight against the Japanese. I feel like that one's familiar. I'm going to see who's in it. Right. Have I got the spelling right? Yeah, Kokoda movie. So, oh yeah, so that's Australian war film directed by Alistair Grierson, Jack Finster, Christopher Ben Barrack. Nah, I don't know anyone that's in it. No, that's fair enough. So it's the experiences of Australian troops fighting Japanese forces during the 1942 Kokoda track campaign. Keep that in mind then. Always looking for a good World War II movie. Grandma Danger says, have a good one. Thank you very much. And you have a good one too, Grandma Danger. Paolo71 says, watch more anime, drinker. I know. Also, there's only so many times I can hear it. Also, what is your opinion of an old favorite of mine, Mystery Men? I don't know. It's a mystery to me.
Do you mean you haven't seen it, or that you don't know what you think of it?
I haven't seen it.
Isn't that the one with like it's like the Avengers, but stupid as fuck and old as hell? Like, it's like Ben Stiller and Hank Azaria, and they play like superheroes, quote unquote, but their powers are all dumb.
Yep, that'll be it. Yeah, so it details the story of a team of lesser superheroes with unimpressive powers who are required to save the day. It got generally positive reviews, but it was a box office bomb.
I enjoyed it.
I mean, it's got, Ben Stiller, Hank Azaria, William H. Macy, Greg Kinnear, Janine Garofalo, Kel Mitchell, Wes Studi. Oh, Jesus, everyone's in it. Jeffrey Rush as well.
Yeah, he's the villain.
Never seen it. No, sorry about that. Night King 01 says, just a note about Jackie Chan movies. Please, for the love of all that is holy, watch the original Cantonese dub. The English dubs are atrocities. I think that's usually the case, really, isn't it?
That's just how it works.
Yeah. There's certainly a bit of a gap there when you watch Squid Game. Sorry, I just refreshed the list here. Oh yeah. Joseph Snewart says, Hail Drinker, I just finished Arcane and was surprised by how good it was. Good world building, good characters, gorgeous animation. Sounds all right to me then. Yeah. Marksman of 117B says, Russians keeping old memes alive. If you want a quick laugh, watch the 2-minute Normal Day in Europe by Scorpo the French. The French have a song about onions in the military. What? The French have a military song about onions. Okay. Fair dues. Levu says, watch Comrade Detective. Just 6 episodes. Trust me. I do trust you. Noble Prince says, Drinker, you alcohol-consuming connoisseur of liquor and literature. Any writing suggestions on writing a fantasy story? I've been working on it for a few years now, but it's very slow going. I mean, I haven't written any fantasy myself, so I couldn't advise you on that specifically. But yeah, I'd go back to my previous advice that I already gave earlier in the stream, where it's like, you just have to set aside the time to get it done. Whatever it might be, whether it's in the evening after work or it's early in the morning before you go out to do stuff. Try and give yourself a couple of hours to work on it uninterrupted, with no distractions or anything. And just, make the time to keep that momentum going with it. The worst thing you can do is just dabble in it once in a while, because you'll never get it finished then. But yeah, in terms of actually crafting a fantasy world, I don't know that much about it, so I couldn't advise on that one. True Turner says, retracted my own message like a dumbass. Forget V, it was all about Alien Nation when I'm growing up. That's fair enough. V and Alien Nation kind of similar in some respects. Wolfsbane, hey Drinker, do you have trouble trying to perfect sentences when writing? I tend to rewrite multiple paragraphs and get nowhere. Any tips? I never have problems with like sentence level stuff. Like at that kind of level, I can craft a scene or whatever. It's more just like how they fit together into the overall story that I sometimes have to mess around with. But yeah, like I've done like 10 books now, so I've kind of got the whole writing aspect of it fine. It's just like making sure that it all fits together into a coherent story. And it quite often means just moving scenes around. And at worst, rewriting certain scenes to make characters act in a more consistent way. I think that's usually the problem I have when I feel like a scene's not working properly. It's because I'm trying to make a character do something that's out of character. Excuse me. So, that would be my tips, I suppose. Just think really carefully about how your characters are acting in a scene and if it's actually consistent with what you know about them. But in terms of like the sentence stuff, I don't know. I've never really had a problem with that. Sancho Kalea says, Drinker, can Russell T Davies save Doctor Who? Oh, so many people want to know that. I wish I had a crystal ball that could tell you. I think if you're going to pick anyone to try and save it, I suppose he's the guy. I just don't know. Yeah, it depends who they cast as the next Doctor Who. If it's someone who really can fit the role and make the character fun again, who they have as companions, what kind of mandates they get from the BBC about how it has to be written. All of those things are stuff that we don't know yet. But yeah, if anyone can bring it back, I guess Davies can. Rob H says, which is worse, the person that brings a tray of hot smelly food into the cinema or the person that brings a baby? The baby, for sure. Because babies,
it should be illegal to bring a baby.
Babies can produce hot, smelly stuff as well, which is even more terrifying.
True.
And they, meals don't scream and shout and stuff. So yeah, you should never bring a baby into the cinema. That's madness.
And if your meal is shouting and screaming, run.
What is this? My hot dog's screaming at me.
Saying why? Why?
Ackles Floozy, Peen Wizard, Snort, Chortle. Greg Bennett, here you go, fella. Have a bottle of turpentine and a Greg's pasty. Thank you. I'd rather have the turpentine, to be honest.
Have a turpentine pasty.
Yeah, I'm pouring it in. It's leaking through the pastry. JC, I just wanted to recommend Arcane too. Thank you. Diversity done right, even if it is animated. Nice one. Seamus McBride, didn't know your author name. Found him. Get Jeremy from the quartering on here. What? Why? What's that got to do with
the first part? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Jeremy, if you're out there, join us for a chat. Jake Wilson says, "Hail to you, Drinker Man and Long Man. When will we be getting a Buffy chat?" That is a good question.
Me and Gary have been planning that since the beginning of time. One day it will happen. There are levels of plans, all right?
The Picard review will come out, and then the Buffy chat will happen.
And that'll all happen after TFA Part 4. So it's all well on the way.
Yeah. Silo 101. Low Drinker, can you say purple burglar alarm? Apparently I can, yeah. Night King 01, watch Let's Shoot for 40 clip. Okay. True Turner, name one film you can watch again and again and again. For me, it has to be Twin Town, Fatty Lewis. I mean, there's quite a few I could watch again and again and again. Tremors, Big Trouble in Little China, any of the Cornetto trilogy. Lord of the Rings, yeah. They would all be just fine for me. Danny Numero 6. Have you seen Backstroke of the West? If not, it's a Chinese bootleg edition of Revenge of the Sith, where the translation from Chinese to English is horribly done. It's absolutely hilarious all the way throughout. I'd love to watch that in that case.
I hear, we still haven't seen that. They've asked us to watch it a million times. We'll do it eventually, DFAP as well.
Backstroke of the West.
It's a funny name.
There's always been great translation issues. Like I think the Bond movies, when they used to get translated into Chinese, got butchered. So like Dr. No became No Doctors, Please. Tyler Turner says, have you seen the trailer for Disney's Sneakerella? No, I've heard it's fucking awful though.
I've only recently heard of it, and I can't believe it exists. Why?
It's not often I say cringe, but like that genuinely seems like one of the most cringe-inducing things they could have done. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll review it if it really jumps out at me. The Nreeb says, please get the drinker to review Wolf Cop 2017, a comedy horror film about an alcoholic wolf cop. Werewolf cop. The drinker would approve. It's free on YouTube. You've got me sold already, man. An alcoholic werewolf cop. Yeah, Mikey Gusler, to pick up on my runtime point, the director of Once Upon a Time in America had his film cut from 3 hours 45 minutes to around 2 hours and 25 minutes by the studio. Jesus, that's brutal. He said a 3 hour 30 minute can feel like 1 hour 30 minutes and vice versa. I mean, you're probably right, yeah. Depends on the quality. But yeah, that is a brutal cut. I don't know how you could maintain a coherent story there. And Jake Wilson, can you guys do a Kung Fu Hustle watch along? I mean, could we? I suppose we could.
I don't see why not, yeah.
But yeah, that is it. We managed to get to the end. We've made it to the end of the Super Chats.
Well, how about that?
Yeah. I'm gonna bring my dog into this situation to congratulate you. So, Lara, you alive? Yeah? No? You gonna come over here? Oh, fine. I can stay there then. Jesus, lazy arsehole.
I don't want to.
Fucking greyhounds, honestly. Anyway, no, that's been awesome, man. We made it to the end, and it's been good stuff. Oh, and of course, as I'm trying to wrap up, someone always comes in with another one. Night King 01. I'm currently reading Dune, and it should have been 3 movies. A lot is cut out, and the book is even split into 3 sections. Shame it didn't happen. I mean, it could end up being 3 movies, couldn't it? I don't know. Like part 2 might not be the end of the book.
And they can do more books. Well, yeah, who knows what we're up for. I'll be looking forward to the part 2, though.
Yeah, absolutely. 0 Hour Discussions says, Hail Legends, hoped you guys see my email. Well, we'll take a look. Steve Baker, am I too late to ask about Wheel of Time? I mean, you are in the sense that I don't know anything about it, so I couldn't really even tell you. You're neither late nor early. You're just, yeah. But yeah, anyway, that's it. We've made it. So I'll wrap it up now before we get more in. So that is all we've got today. So we're going to go away now.